Welcome, my beautiful souls, and happy Sunday, by the way. Very seldom I work on Sunday, but I took the day off yesterday to watch the game, which we lost. But, anyways, I'm coming back to you with a reading that I had just done, where I'm asking five specific questions, but just felt like it didn't reach everyone. And I don't mean that by like, I don't know. I just feel like I need to do another one. So, maybe the first one you related a little bit, but not completely. This may be your one. Something is just telling me to do it again, and I'm just trusting my intuition. So, the questions we're going to ask is, and by the way, this is really what I'm looking for is soulmate energy or twin flame energy. Um, but what I'm looking for is long lasting love. So I'm calling it love's arrival. I'm asking number one, what's blocking me from inviting love into my life? Is there anything blocking us? Number two, what can I do to prepare myself for the arrival of love? By the way, when I say I or me, I'm just you. Like I just pick up on your energy. Number three, what qualities will my potential partner have? And I put in parentheses, this should be quite the clue. Number four, how can I recognize and welcome love when it arrives? So, as you can tell just from the questions, which by the way, intuitively came to me, um, like the questions alone tell me that love is arriving. So it might be more like where are we at in that? But last but not least, number five, this could answer that. What lessons from my past relationships can help me in my future love life? So what have I learned? How have I grown from it? And yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the psychic tarot for the questions. I'm going to give them a quick shuffle. Everything's always pre-shuffled, just so you know that. Let's go ahead and also give them a cut so that they're ready. And they are now ready. And then what I'm going to do is take the crystal vision right above the card. Just give them a shuffle. Let's give them a cut. Right? You want to know. I like being surprised right along with you. And I have to say, I feel like our spiritual team always surprises us in the best of ways. All right, and then last but not least, let's go ahead and give the Gilded Tarot a shuffle. And then we'll open up the Tarot portion of the reading. All right, so right below. But I do want to start with Mother Mary. So, Mother Mary's view on the reading that we're doing, and of course, her beautiful advice. Let's give him a cut. This is a good time just to relax your mind, open up your intuition, self respect. Self respect. I honor and love myself through my healthful actions. I honor and love myself. That's so important. It's like the Nine of Cups in a way, inner fulfillment, right? Feeling good about oneself. I don't need someone to come in and validate, that I'm worthy. I have to already know that. I do feel like that's an important component. Like, I have to know that I'm worthy. Um, and I feel like that's what Mother Mary is talking about. I know self respect and what I'm saying may not go hand in hand, but I'm feeling that energy. Like, just knowing that you are lovable, you are deserving. Doesn't matter, if you had 50 boyfriend and girlfriends who told you the opposite. As long as you were working on your own energy, and evolving, then so will the energy around you. All right, so we will keep that out. And let's go ahead. Let me grab a drink real quick. Because I know I'm about to do some talking. All right, so question one. What's blocking me from inviting love into my life? Awareness. It's a magician. I get the sense of needing to trust within oneself. And I also get the sense of the importance of putting the past in the past. Extracting the wisdom, of course, knowing oneself in love, right? This is awareness. So it's aware of yourself also. Looks like your chakras being activated. So this is what would be considered a block. You may not be trusting in your intuition. Let's see what comes above it. Oh my. Hello, lovers. Hello, lovers. So, interesting. Um, Card of Gemini. The meaning of this card is a head over heart decision. And I could see, or I feel, where your head might be overthinking the heart. This is a great representation of the type of love we're looking for. There is chemistry with the lovers, no doubt. And many times you'll see the lovers naked. And to me, that symbolizes the willingness, or not even the willingness, it is about being in your authentic skin, being comfortable within who you are. Don't shoot for perfection. This is card of Gemini, who is ruled by Mercury, so we can be overthinking. I feel like trust the feelings more than the thoughts. And I'm not saying just to jump into something, but what a great representation of love with the lovers. And then the magician. Hello. Okay, let's see what comes below. We have the Queen of Cups. I feel like this is talking about being open to love. The Queen of Cups, the cup is in front of her. It's like just looking for someone to fill my cup while she's mirroring the lovers. So, head over heart decision. Well, the Queen of Cups is going to follow her heart. Now, that completely is up to you. But I feel like as it answers this question, what could be blocking me? It may be I don't have my cup out in front. And this is for those who are, I say looking for love, but let's just say would be happy to invite real love in. So this queen, the cup is in front of her, and I feel like she is thinking of future love and the potential that it carries. This queen is emotionally available. And I feel like that's going to be important also. When I see this queen, I think of compassion and empathy, nurturing, all those beautiful qualities. But boy, you flip her around and you get the opposite. But she's not flipped around. Look at this little doggy. It's like her spirit guide. Oh, two doggies. Two doggies. Two lovers. Interesting. Okay, let's keep going. So, what can I do to prepare myself for the arrival of love? So let's just assume it's coming in. And right off the bat, I feel like the cards that came out, which, listen, they could come out any way they want, right? But that's what I love about tarot, the randomness, but then how they fall together. So, again, what can I do to prepare myself for the arrival of this love? Obstacles and challenges, which is a 5. So, change. I definitely feel, by the way, 5 plus 1 is a 6, bringing us back to the lovers again. I definitely feel what this is saying is some of you just have not had it easy in love. I mean, I've been down that path, and but that is the past because that's what the 5 is really talking about. Change. What type of change? Well, let's just say that, there was probably some people, um, could even be just people you hang out with. I feel like it's situational. Like my situation isn't really opened because maybe I'm focusing still on these challenges. And maybe this is a different way of looking at these challenges. Instead of saying that they've been obstacles, well, these are things I've gotten through. These are things that have taught me, that made me, if I realize that, stronger than ever. You know, Listen, not all love is going to work out. And where did I literally just say these words? Um, but I feel like the love that doesn't work out is just getting you ready for the love that will work out. Where did I just say those words? I think I did a podcast that I didn't release yet. We'll see. But let's take the crystal vision. Look at that judgment. You may not be paying attention to your intuition. You may be still living in the past because judgment is calling you to the present moment. And this, again, is about how do you prepare yourself for the arrival of this love. Judgment says, listen to me. I will guide you. This is your spiritual team, and how beautiful that your spiritual team is involved, which I would expect nothing less because, again, I'm looking for higher vibrational love, which does mean that you also have to be able to give that. Just remember that. We have to be able to give what it is we want. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. But anyway, so judgment calling you to the present moment because there's about to be a rebirth. So this change from the 5, and again, I feel like it is the past that maybe I haven't cleared yet, but definitely I feel like you have the ability. And maybe one of the things you can do is look back and instead of saying like what the hell was I thinking? Or why don't people love me in the way I deserve? Well, think where your own energy was at also. Like some of my most difficult relationships, if you want to call it that, was when I myself was in lower vibrational energy. And I feel like it's just natural that that's what we attract. We attract the energy that we are. So your spiritual team is like, well, you can evolve from this past, you know, awareness, and then your spiritual team right next to the lovers. Okay, it all looks good. Let's go right below. All right, look at this, another five. Five of Wands. Well, that's a lot of ego, my friends. It can be a lot of fighting, can be competition, competing. To me, the Five of Wands, I feel it is a five. And I feel it's like separating yourself from any drama filled people, and don't buy what they're selling. Because if they're drama filled, what they're selling you is probably a bunch of bullshit. Trust yourself, trust your spiritual team, and I feel the rest will fall in place. It's interesting we have two fives. So this may be talking about each of these lovers needing to go through, I'm saying needing to go through these fives, but really these fives, though both difficult, really can give you tremendous growth if you realize that. So let's say, in the past, I was fighting with someone, trying to get someone to see their ways, waiting for an apology. I never feel like we get it in the Five of Wands. But the thing is, I never feel like we really need it. We may think we need it in that moment. But as this new love enters, I have a feeling whoever I was fighting with in the Five of Wands, chances are I'm not going to be thinking about them that much, if at all. I feel like with these two fives, it's just saying be willing to make that change, be willing to make the changes that make your life better, that make you happier. Because when you can find that inner harmony, it is a different vibration. And it's just automatically going to bring things in of that same vibration. Spiritual team is saying there is about to be a rebirth standing right next to the lovers. Judgment's blown its trumpet down at these fives, almost like have the awareness of them, but then let them go. Let them be. You can look at them again, the obstacles. What obstacles have I overcome? Looking at it from a positive point of view. Someone had a lot of ego, but I myself was working on raising my own vibration. And listen, when that happens, those of a lower vibration naturally fade away. It's the human part of us that pulls them back in. But as we evolve, we have no interest in pulling them back in. All right. What qualities will my potential partner have? And then I put in parentheses a bit of a clue, but I feel it's probably going to be a big clue. So, again, what qualities will my potential, let's just say, love partner have? Triumph. This is the chariot. Unlimited potential. Balance. You know, it is the card of Cancer, by the way. Um, and the chariot really represents unlimited potential. I gotta believe in that, though. I gotta know that it can be true. These fives, so difficult, yes, but man, they may be your greatest lessons that open up a whole new world for you. So I don't feel like there's any restrictions. And I feel like this person would feel that way. Like obstacles and challenges, they probably say, I'll just jump right over them. I'll just go right through them. Definitely feels like someone has also learned. When I see the lovers, I do feel often that they have had similar lives, similar challenges. And that may be so that they arrive at the same vibration around the same time. All right, let's take the crystal vision. Hello, Ten of Cups. What's interesting? I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like this came out in the last one in the same position. Look at this top line, the lovers, judgment, your spiritual team, talking about a rebirth. And then what does it usher in? The Ten of Cups, the house of love, the house of harmony. I feel like, will there be restrictions? Doesn't feel like it. So to me, that says that this person's also free. You know what I mean? Like, not in a marriage, or if, let's just say, if, there's still connected to the old, I don't feel like their thought system is. It may just be like, okay, I want to move from there to here. They're getting the same calling. Like they have to pay attention to their intuition. But I feel, and then I'm looking at judgment with the magician. It's like, wow, there's a lot of power behind that. The magician's a reminder that you have all the tools that you need to be successful. You already have them. You know, you can't see it here, but often in magician's energy, you'll see all the tools on the table. And that is for the full. Like these tools are available to the full. And we're always the full when we're starting any new journey, any new path. And it doesn't have to mean like everything in your life is changing. But listen, I would only see it getting better and better and better, to be honest. Hello, Ten of Cups. Did I show you the card? You know, I feel like picture yourself in that card. Some of you, maybe this is who you start a family with. But let's say you already have a family. Then it would be a beautiful blending of families. Like if I have kids and they have kids, we're going to love each other's kids. You know what I mean? It's going to be one big happy family. Doesn't always mean issue free. We have to understand that. But because we both now have the wisdom of our past, chances are and this is what I want to know from our guides. Like I'm looking for love that has the potential to last for the rest of your life. Well, that to me would be the Ten of Cups. We'll see what comes underneath it. Look at this, the Six of Swords. That's kind of beautiful because you have these two fives, right? And the Six of Swords is the realization of what has been toxic in my life, who has been toxic in my life, even my own thought system. This is someone who's moving on from that. That's actually the name of the card, moving on. But first, it is the realization of the toxicity, wherever it may be coming from. Some of you could certainly be, you might have been connected with someone, but now I just get this feeling like you're making that statement of, now I am free. Now I am free. And I don't mean free from love. I mean, yes, you are free from what I feel is like an old relationship or even people, whatever it might be. And, the Six of Swords, it's temporarily difficult energy. And that's only for those who may have a hard time with change. Change is definitely needed, but it's only going to help you. It's just saying no more. No more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more. What you say? You heard me. All right. How can I recognize and welcome this love when it arises? How am I going to recognize this love? First of all, I feel before we even take a card, energy is the biggest clue. Signs like you're being guided. Anytime judgment shows up, know that. Like your team is trying to reach your intuition. And it is about a rebirth. Well, hello, all these fives. I want it. Okay, so, anyways, how can I recognize and welcome love when it arises? Look at this. Rejoice. How beautiful. Enjoy it. Celebrate it. This is the energy of joy. And some of you may be completely surprised by it. I feel like in the Three of Cups, there is not, what do I want to say? I'm not thinking about the past in this energy. I'm celebrating what's right in front of me. Wow. So I feel like one of the ways you'll recognize it is by the way you feel. The Three of Cups, again, is the energy of joy. So it's going to make you feel joyful. It will probably give you butterflies, but in the best of ways. It could even be a little fearful, but fear as in like, wow, this is, the chemistry is probably going to be off the chart. Let's take crystal vision above it. Hierophant. So again, how can I recognize and welcome this love when it arrives? Hierophant, first of all, card of Taurus. But I feel like this is talking about morals, matching morals. Like we both have the same ultimate goal. And it doesn't have to be like exactly the same thing, but I feel like, when I think of the Hierophant, I often feel like the Hierophant's about to give a blessing, like a blessing over. So it does feel like this love is being blessed. But I really feel like this is also a clue. Like when you have a conversation, you'll notice that your morals are very aligned. Ten of Wands. So that kind of makes sense. Not kind of, it does make sense. Especially with the Hierophant mirroring it. Ten of Wands, it speaks about a period of time of heavy responsibility, backbreaking all the responsibilities on your shoulders. But the Six of Wands right before, the Six of Swords right before that, I feel like that's what ends. You may have felt obligated back here. And maybe you were to a point. But even obligation, if it's, like drama filled or full of lies, you know, do I feel that we have to carry that responsibility? I don't. For some of you, it can certainly talk about, well, I get this feeling all of a sudden that some may just be afraid. You may be a parent and becoming single could be scary. but I feel like the Hierophant has your back. Judgment has your back. And this Ten of Wands is definitely ending. This is nothing I feel like that's coming in. It's already happened. You know what I like? Which I don't know I ever said this about the Ten of Wands, but in this reading, I feel like because there's a lot of similarities and your past have probably been pretty closely aligned, meaning that you both dealt with difficult energy, but had to grow, like learn to grow through it instead of like getting stuck in its web. So again, the similarities. I feel like this queen is also, I feel like she has no interest in being someone who carries the brunt of the responsibility as it relates to a relationship. But in no way do I feel like you're going to have to. And again, I feel like through conversation, you're going to start realizing the similarities between your lives, the lessons. All right. What lessons from my past relationships can help me in my future love life? What lessons from my past relationships can help me in my future love life? Ace of Cups. Love begins. Dang it. Now I want to slide everything over just a hair. Love begins, and love begins. The Ace of Cups is mirroring the Magician. That's pretty powerful. Eight of Swords. Some of you are afraid to love again. Even when this love shows up. This is probably why Judgment came out. They're like, trust us. That thought system. It was built by people who didn't even know what they were talking about, but you took it on. This is a self-created prison. And, I feel like I don't want to flip out over this because this is about setting oneself free. But I do feel like what it's saying is some of you have built this prison, and it's usually built to protect oneself. That's what we tell ourselves anyway. But it doesn't really protect us. I feel like for some of you, it's been a time out, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're not ready, you're not ready. And I don't feel like Judgment would be like pushing something on you until, well, number one, you can be all that you can be. You know, 8 is always about a new beginning. So it definitely feels like past love has caused this self-created prison. And that can mean that there hasn't been clarity, but you have the ability to break it down. But you know what? When you break it down in a way where you notice your own growth. Not all love is going to work out, and not all love is meant to work out. I often feel like different loves are stepping stones to our true love. All right, let's see who's below it. Look at this, the Chariot. And the Chariot is representing your future partner. So how interesting. Because normally in the Eight of Swords, I feel like you're blocking opportunity. But I get this sense that this person's going to understand that. So some of you are afraid to give your heart again, even though this queen does have the cup out front. You know, this Eight of Swords can be like back and forth, like, yes, I want love, but then I get afraid of it, you know? But if you're afraid of it, it is because of the past. And you can change that. And in a way, that's what your spiritual team is trying to show you, like the different levels of love, but each one of them being a stepping stone to your ultimate love. And there they are. There they are. You know, I feel like soulmates can be great healers for each other. You know, the Eight of Swords, I often feel like it's an energy that we want to try to break free from on our own. But let's say you do break free, but some of the fear remains. I feel like this future love is going to put your mind at ease. And it may come through conversation, but I'm telling you, I feel that you're going to feel it. And that may be scary if you're not quite ready. This is exactly why I'm doing this reading. I mean, love begins, and then we get the chariot. Well, the chariot's representing the person coming in, and it brings out the Ten of Cups. Even the Six of Swords below it, right? That no, you know, I have a feeling this could also be the other partner because I feel like someone hasn't quite cleared the energy of the past. And if it's you, this may help you. Again, look back, but look back on how you have grown and understand, like, you know, like someone treated me like shit that I loved. But now, if I look back, maybe I can see their flaws, you know, and it's not to judge them, it's just to say, like, you know, to tell yourself, like, okay, so this person didn't quite give me what I needed, but maybe they were just unable. You know what I mean? Like, the one thing we can control is ourselves. Controlling another, mm-mm. Or if we have to try to control another, it's like, no, thank you. Boy, do I feel like I was meant to do this reading. I say that all the time. But literally, when I felt the calling to do this reading, I thought to myself, well, I just did one. But what I heard is this one will be different. All right, let's look at the bottom of the decks. Discontentment, boredom in one's emotional life. This is the Four of Cups. And I feel like this is great news. Um, it's a bummer. You can't see it in this image, but there's usually a cup coming in. And it literally feels like it's coming from the hand of divine. Someone's back is to the world. I have a feeling it's the same who's in the Eight of Swords. But I really do want love. The true love. Well, look what's mirroring it. The Ace of Cups. It's like it's answering you. It's giving you what it is you're looking for. But are you ready? That's the main thing. All right. We have the Eight of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. That could tie some of you back to, could be someone who does something, you know, very much like you as it relates to work. This also answers a question, though, as it relates to really anything, but in love, you know, how do I know it's going to be successful? Well, This is a reminder that if you focus on it, it will grow. Focus on it and it will grow. This 8 is mirroring another 8. And then last but not least, we have the 7 of Cups. Well, that makes sense because right above it is 4 of Cups, right? Discontentment within my love life. 7 of Cups definitely means, just like the 4 of Cups, a cup is coming in. By the way, I don't know if I said it, in the 4 of Cups, really the meaning of it is learning to use your spiritual discernment. Your spiritual team is right here to help you. And really, I mean, I just love the energy they're bringing out. And because we know a cup is coming in the 4 of Cups, and here it literally is, well, now I'm making a decision in the 7 of Cups. This could happen in a chaotic time. You know, 7 of Cups, it really is about trusting. And it's mirroring the Chariot, who again, let's just call your person. So it's like you're being answered, but I feel like you also have to accept the answers. We have 3 5s, could be 3 separate changes, but that could be between you and, well, not together, but like this love and the changes they've gone through, and you and the changes you've gone through. You know, something is telling me that the love that's coming in, number one, feels free and clear. I feel like would not put obstacles in front of this love, this, potential love affair. Well, I shouldn't say affair because I feel like, again, the 10 of Cups to me represents the rest, like it has the potential for the rest of your life. Listen, the Ace of Cups, like it's unconditional love. And sometimes it's okay to allow another to help heal those broken little pieces. I feel like you want this love, but some are afraid of it. And I feel like the only reason I'm afraid of it, because how will I know that it will turn into the 10 of Cups? Focus, right? Because there's free will here also. So if we took free will out, let's say, and just followed our spiritual team, then I feel like we would end up in the 10 of Cups. But our free will can sometimes, that's kind of what the 8 of Swords is. It's like that free will to create that prison. That's your choice, right? Your spiritual team can't, they can certainly point it out, make you feel resistance in that energy. Um, or hopefully send you some comfort. And listen, I don't feel like this is saying like okay, so we meet. It doesn't need to go quickly. So if you have fear, don't be afraid to take it slow. Because I have a feeling this other person would be okay with that. Even if you need to talk about the past, I feel like they have, I feel like they actively listen. Like they really listen. And doesn't always give advice, but truly listens. And why wouldn't they give advice? Well, because I get this sense of like, I know where to give advice and where not to give advice. And sometimes someone just needs an ear, a shoulder to cry on, and I'll be that for you. I'll be that for you. Wow. All right. Let's bring in the clarifying love situations. I have to tell you, I love doing these five questions right to divine. I feel like it gets rid of all the fluff. Like, here's my questions. Well, here's your answers. Oh, and if you have questions yourself, I wouldn't say personal, but like I'm actually going to do a post to see, to get your questions. But I have to say, this is my new favorite format because I feel it's so direct. All right. Oh, something else I want to just say real quick. I probably should have said this in the beginning. You may notice, like, when I do a reading, like where you can see it, like a video. I also do a podcast. So I put it on my podcast also. And I do that. I know it irritates some people, like, hey, why's she doing that reading again? I do that for those who prefer to listen versus watch. So I've had a lot of people ask me um, to do that, and I'm more than happy to do that. So if you see something double, that's why. All right, we have Delicate Dawn. From fragile beginnings, nurture growth, and hold on to the promise of hope. Hold on to the promise of hope. It's like the star card. We have eternal renewal. In the cycle of life, understanding breeds hope for what comes next. Eternal renewal. Okay, so, it's very clear that I want soulmates and twin flames. Well, soulmates and twin flames are eternal. In the cycle of life, understanding breeds hope for what comes next. Look, and hope is in the card right before it. And then fate's crossroads. In the weave of chance and choices, find the path to lasting legacies. Well, I feel like that's what your spiritual team is showing us. Okay. Um, something else I want to do, which I did not do in the first one, but I want to use the major arcanas, and I'm using them to see the best energy that we can take you know, on top of what we've already received. Okay, well, that didn't take long. All right, we start with the strength card. That makes sense. The strength card is really knowing oneself. It is that deep dive within. And, ultimately, the strength card turns to courage. It reminds me of the Wizard of Oz all of a sudden. There may be a clue for some of you. Um, but this is like our own inner demons. And we all have them. Let's just call them shadows. The shadows and the lights, right? But it really is knowing oneself. And, I have a feeling also it's talking about if you're willing to, let's just say, reflect back, but reflect back again in a way that builds you up. But also, I do feel it's important that we know ourselves. If I'm in the Eight of Swords, I need to know that. This is an 8, so again, a new beginning, right? But the infinity symbol, as above, so below, no beginning, no end. That's kind of beautiful. We have the hangman. Slow down, you move too fast. The hangman's seeking wisdom to use on this physical plane, and he is leaning towards the beautiful sun. So I have to say, when the sun comes out in any reading, it's good news. It is your illuminator. It's like feeling like a kid again. It's unencumbered. The sun tells you you don't have to worry about the dark, because if anything is done in the dark, it will come to the light. Look at these two down there. They're reminding me of the lovers. Interesting. I get this feeling that in a previous life, and I don't know why this is coming to me, but and it's probably just for a couple. I get a feeling you were brother and sister. We change roles in different lifetimes because we want to learn, you know, new lessons. And if we think of it in that way, like Earth is a classroom, right? It's a place of adventure. The sun is just allowing yourself to have fun, right? Playing, laughing, dancing. And then the magician, the manifester. So there's those tools on the table. I feel like the magician is the fool's greatest mentor. And we are the fool with any new journey that we're about to embark on. Well, judgment is talking about a rebirth, but a rebirth in love. So through, let's say, self-reflection, courage, taking a chance. The sun, again, I feel like is a great omen to come out. Because to me, it feels like there's nothing to worry about here. And the hangman's seeking anyway, right? Seeking spiritual wisdom to use on this earthly plane. And then the sun comes out. So I feel like my questions are being answered. Whatever I'm asking my guides, they will have an answer to. I'm going to tell you a really quick story because it kind of freaked me out, but in the best of ways. And I don't know why things still freak me out. Um, but anyway, I was watching the Steeler game last night, and I have my son's terrible towel. That's just, I don't, some of you may not know what that is. But it's always part of, when I watch a game, because we used to always watch the games together. Um, but I said to myself, but really to my son, I'm like, Steve, are you watching the game with me? If you are, give me a clue. And as soon as I said that, I'm not kidding you, the second I said that, player walks on and it shows his back and the name is Wilson. Well, that's my son's last name, Wilson. That's my married name. I'm not married anymore, but it's still my legal name. So, like, instantly. And then the next thing that happened is Wilson got a touchdown. The reason why I'm telling you this is because our guides are there. I knew immediately. And, I just felt, it just made me feel so good because I knew that he was there. And the reason why I'm telling you this story is because your guides, your loved ones, they're there. They want to help you. Judgment is your whole spiritual team. So, I mean, there just seems like there's nothing to fear here. Yes, there are obstacles that had to be overcome. We do have to look within ourselves. Listen, if I want the best of love, then I got to know myself in love. And again, nobody's perfect. But I feel like this person, and this could go either way. You may be the person who is that shoulder for another. All right, let's go ahead and finish this reading with the romance angels. And then we will let it be. I mean, my God, if you're looking for love in all the wrong places, maybe that's a clue. Maybe I've been looking for love in the wrong places. It's interesting. All of a sudden, I see someone at a library, like, because I love to read. And then I meet someone. So I'm doing what it is I love. And then I meet someone. Maybe I'm creating. That Eight of Pentacles can certainly represent, again, both of you doing um, similar things in the world. And then I'm thinking of Mercury for the lovers. Some of you speaking, writing, some type of communication. But it doesn't have to be that. All right. Okay. Boy, that seems like a lot. I'm going to take them, but we'll go through them pretty quickly. Well, release your ex. The time has come to clear your energy. That makes sense. And some of you may not even be together, but it's clearing the energy. We have forgiving and learning. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moment. Huh. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moment. Release your ex, but don't hang on to the hurtful energy. Forgiving your heart, and also forgive yourself. Because sometimes, I've said it to myself, like, what the hell was I thinking? Chances was I wasn't thinking. Um, so, it doesn't have to mean you pick up the phone, call someone, say I'm sorry, or have them say, like, ask for an apology, especially in the Five of Wands. Sometimes we just have to be okay with that. But as your life continues to evolve, I'm telling you, you won't care. You really won't care. So it's more about not carrying it within your own heart. All right. You deserve love. You, my friend, are lovable. Well, I already knew that. It is safe for you to love. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. Like, there's certain words that I feel like are clues. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. Oh my. Hello, new love. A new person has stirred your romantic feelings. Well, yes, they have, or yes, they will. Yes, they will. You know, we have release your ex and then we have new love. And even though I do feel like, I feel like I know we're talking about soulmates and twin flames. Um, so even though it's saying new, you're gonna feel like, why can I never say that word? Like familiar energy. It may not be clear why right away, but this person is stirring your romantic feelings. And I just kind of love how it's coming over the Three of Cups. All right, last but not least, give your relationship a chance. Work on your partnership. Now, this is not talking about someone of the old. I feel like what this is saying, because it's asking you to give this relationship a chance and it's following new love. So I feel like it's asking you to give this new love a chance. And that may mean simply putting your toes into the water. Because I feel like very quickly, well, I know, like probably immediately you're going to feel. It's interesting because I certainly don't want my readings to be like me trying to talk you into something. I would never do that. Um, but I will give you the truth. The truth, the way that my spiritual team is giving to me. But listen, my spiritual team connects with your spiritual team. So release your ex. Time has come to clear your energy. I feel like that's the most important thing. That is definitely relating back to the Eight of Swords. But look at the Ace of Cups right below it. So I feel like this is a great level to add on, um, because this is all about really getting ready for it. Like, just expect it. Just expect it. I expect good things to happen, and they do. I expect good things to happen, and they do. And so it is. And so it is. I love you guys. Can't wait to read your comments. Be honest with me. Let me know what you think about this format. I hope you like it. But, I want to do what makes you happy. But what I love the most about this format is we're going directly to our team and asking the questions. And they are answering the questions directly. I mean, I couldn't have asked for more, to be honest. All right, I'm going to let that be. I'm going to just release it to the universe and to you. I love you guys so much. I will see you next time at our table. I was going to say in our readings. So in our readings and at our table. I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Bye bye.